Welcome to a special collaboration episode of Shoujo Sundae and Shoujo and Tell. We're going to be discussing the movie and manga versions of Josee, the Tiger, and the Fish. I'm Giana Luna, and I'm joined by Ashley of Shoujo and Tell and my wonderful co-host Chika Supreme of Shoujo Sundae. Let's dig in.
私の心があらモード baby I make you more than happy けどゆっくりしようね Brain freeze ご注意できるかな Handle me 高すぎカロリー Sugar 以上甘い Feeling with you next to me baby おかわりね仕上がれ
Okay, first and foremost, hi Ashley. I'm so excited to be recording with you again.
Hello, it's me. Hi, I'm excited too.
Yes. We decided to develop the Shoujo trio today.
Shoujo trio, as we're officially known.
Yes, we're officially the Shoujo trio for Women's History Month. You're welcome. This is
Yes, I'm
historic.
trying to mash it into the title of the movie somehow, just like Shoujo, the ice cream, and the manga or something like.
Okay, you nailed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into this. We're going to dive on into this really, really awesome, in my opinion, manga and movie. So we're going to be starting with a spoiler-free discussion. So if you want to just know a little bit before maybe watching and reading and then heading into the rest of the episode, stay here for this little section. So let's get into a plot synopsis or a soft serve summary, if you will.
Yeah, I was like, it works either way.
Yeah. From IMDb. Equipped with his passion for diving and admiration for marine biology, university student Tsuneo Suzukawa tries his best to juggle several part-time jobs to earn enough money to study abroad. But one night, in a fateful accident, he meets a girl in a wheelchair, driving his current path into a detour. The girl, Kumiko, who prefers to be called Josee, initially comes off as rude. Tsuneo, however, is then convinced by Josee's grandmother to take on a paid job to be Josee's caretaker. Despite being annoyed with her bossy demeanor, Tsuneo sees the opportunity to save more funds to support his academic dream. Nonetheless, after putting up with Josee's behavior for some time, Tsuneo tries to quit, only to discover Josee's dreams of traversing the outside world to experience a life free from her crippling condition. Changing his mind, Tsuneo decides to accompany Josee in exploring the wonders that the world has to offer. Through their time together, the two begin to realize that the traits that bind them may be vital toward fulfilling their respective aspirations. And that's our soft-serve summary.
So normally on Shoujo and Tell, I like to do kind of a little background, just high level, who the characters are and how we felt about them. So Tsuneo is again the guy he's an able-bodied, nice young man, just doing his best, working a million part-time jobs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, do you sleep? I'm not sure. I legit think we never got to see him sleep, so now I'm concerned.
Right.
Very true.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, he's a good boy. I like him. I'm concerned about him.
Yeah, I really liked him off the bat. Honestly, he's just I'm so driven. I have these dreams. I'm learning another language. I'm like, okay, you're kind of a catch.
Yes. I was like, look at this boy walking around with his Spanish book. Yes.
Right?
Get him.
Yeah.
Then we have Josee, who just, kind of lands in here, is paraplegic. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're also okay. So this is mostly about the movie and the manga, which are pretty similar, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
I say pretty similar, almost 98% the same.
Right. Yeah.
So,
one for one.
It'll be interesting to talk about these characters as they are portrayed. So I read the short story that this is all based on, which is a very short story. It was like 30 pages total on Kobo. Yeah, it's really, so there's a lot like missing, but some expounded upon. So we're going to talk about that later. It'll be very interesting to compare and contrast. And Chika watched the live action movie as well. So
Yes.
talking about the cool animated beautiful movie, just clear. But so yeah, so Josee just kind of like lands in our lap and has that like, you know, the world has been mean to me, so I will be mean to it back kind of attitude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I appreciate you. You're valid, as one of my friends would say. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I kind of liked seeing that rough exterior start to ease the more interactions she had with Tsuneo and others, and just kind of getting to see what's underneath all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that's because like her grandma, who we will definitely talk about more in the Shoujo Sundae bits, because I have questions. But just like
and feelings.
I have so many. Okay, so grandma keeps Josee from the outside world, being like, it's too dangerous. Look, we went on this one walk and you got pushed and you landed on Tsuneo. Like that's no good. You're lucky you landed on Tsuneo. Could have been worse than that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, oh, I mean, I guess the spoiler is I don't like this lady, but we'll get into it more.
Right. You know what the vibes remind me of?
Wait, what?
It's like, I can't remember his name in The Nightmare Before Christmas, the guy who created Sally, and he doesn't want her to go anywhere, so he tries to keep her locked up, and she's like, but I want to see the world.
Oh, wow. Okay, she's not like that creepy, but yes.
No,
like, that
right.
is the
Yeah,
vibe.
just for that alone.
Yeah. So I think characters that weren't even mentioned in the brief little summary, we have a great, I'm not saying this just because I work at a library now, but Josee befriends a librarian or library assistant of some sort. Somebody who works at the library.
Yeah. I think Kane.
Yeah, I thought it was Kana.
It's Kana. It's very confusing because in the manga, it was Hana. And I was like, why is this different?
Yeah.
Who translated this? Who's wrong? I don't know.
In the live action, I think it is Kane in the live action, and that I just got off of that.
She has 3 names.
She has 3 different names.
3 different names. Characters are merged in. We'll get there.
Oh,
okay. There's characters who are merged. These characters don't exist in the short story that we're talking about now.
Okay.
But like,
yeah.
So I loved Kana because all those little library problems that were brought up, honestly, I was like, yep, I've worked at a library for a total of 3 weeks now, and they're all so real. Anyway.
We love the accuracy.
I love it. A good accuracy. Then we have Hayato, who is like Tsuneo's friend. He's kind of he's one of those class clown kind of types. They all work at the diving shop together. I will say, again, a little bit spoilery, but high level, I am really glad that he turned out to be a very good boy in the end, because I was scared for the first half.
Yeah, he was questionable at first, but he's harmless.
He's harmless. He's a good boy. He's trying his best. The worst character is Mai, who is another of the friends who works at the dive shop. And spoilers, is in love with Tsuneo. That's not a spoiler. It's very obvious from the
It's very obvious in the opening scene. So yeah, not a spoiler for sure.
Yeah. And the choices she decides to make with those feelings, everyone, but particularly Josee, are just bad. And we're going to discuss that.
Oh, yes.
And then obviously the most important character of all is the cat, who I think his name was Yukichi.
Yeah, I liked the cat. Yeah.
I have many things to say about the cat as well. I may or may not have, in preparation for this, I was like, Asher, we're supposed to talk about symbolism, and I want to talk about the cat. Here are my thoughts. And Asher was like, counter. So I had like 20 minutes worth of cat thoughts. For sprinkle on top, I guess. We're going to get there.
Oh, okay. Oh.
But yes, this cat is just there as a stray cat and a metaphor for lots of things. We're going to get into it. So, I mean, I don't want to speak for all of you, but normally I try to explain my background and the guest background with the piece of media that we're discussing. So I had definitely not read or watched any iteration of this before. I started reading the manga. I only read like maybe 15 to 20% of it. Then I watched the movie, and then I went back to the manga, and then I read the short story. So I don't know. That's probably like all kinds of backwards for how you're supposed to do it, but that's how I did it, and that's I'm here now, and so I don't think either of you had read or watched it before, but I might be super salty about that, and you should definitely say so.
Oh, no. Yeah. I had never read or watched this before. So this afternoon, I read the manga first and then I watched the movie. And it was like really, really satisfying to do that in that order because it's really like frame for frame. It was like, wow, it's really just seeing it brought to life.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had never watched it. I think that this is probably our first Josee on the channel too, on the pod. I believe so.
On your pod?
On our pod, yeah. Not your pod, Jess.
I was like, no.
No, you're like, no, like, I've been here.
I've been here.
Was Belladonna or Oku Josee?
No, Belladonna is just I don't think it has a
A demographic. Okay.
And then Oku, I thought it was Josee. I hear it's actually Shojo.
I think it runs in a Shoujo magazine.
Wow. Only yesterday as well.
I don't know if there's source material that has a demo to it.
Okay.
I know Whisper of the Heart has source material that is connected to Shoujo, but I do think that this is Shoujo Sundae's first Josee.
Ooh,
Yeah.
fun.
Aw, fun.
So we're doing that with Ashley. Yeah. But yeah, this is the first time that I have ever gotten into Josee, the Tiger and the Fish. And I ended up seeing it. Like, I watched the anime first, then I read the manga, then I watched the live action. I will say up front, I don't recommend anybody watch the live action. It will ruin the genuine, like, heartfelt feelings that you have from the manga and the anime.
Yeah, I was like, do you have to go back and watch the anime movie again to get the live action out of your brain? You're like, I gotta put the good one back.
Yeah, I feel like I wish I kind of did that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wish I kind of did that. I didn't have the time to do it though. But if anybody does want to go against my recommendation of not watching it, you can find it on Retro Crush.
Oh,
yeah.
I was wondering if it was legally available.
Yes, it is on Retro Crush. If you have a Sceneverse account, you can watch it on Prime. But I didn't. But then I found out it was on Retro Crush, and I have that. So I was like, okay, let me just go on there and don't do it. But if you want to, it's there.
You're like, don't, but it is there, but don't.
Okay. Right, you can, but you shouldn't.
Don't. It's like, I feel like it should be, the live action should be like rated R or something. Like, it's a completely different feel.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Chika and I are excited to compare the short story and the live action because they might have similar things.
Probably.
And I'm excited.
I'm like morbidly curious now.
Yes, get ready.
Get ready to be morbidly horrified.
Yeah, just to be like, okay.
Wow.
Or at least from my end. I don't know how it is on the short story, but we'll get there.
The short story, my high level short story thoughts were, again, it's very short, so it's not going to take you a ton of time to like sink into it if you don't like it or not, or you do. I thought there were like two changes that I thought are like two initial things that are very different from the movie and manga that I actually liked, and everything else I was like, yeah, it's not as good as the anime and the manga. Like, no, those two are definitely the preferred adaptations.
Yes.
But there's some interesting things in there. So yeah, also you can watch the anime movie, at least currently, on Crunchyroll. So that's how I watched it.
Me too.
Yeah.
And then the manga and the short story are both available from Yen Press. The short story is very confusing because they list it as a light novel, but I'm pretty sure it is legit just a compilation of short stories by the author, one of which is Josee the Tiger and the Fish, and the whole compilation is just called Josee the Tiger and the Fish, but then it's like the 9th story, and it was very confusing. I was like, I'm very confused. I am happy that that is what it was in the end. I'm like, really made me question whether I was getting the right thing though. But cool, whatever. Let's get into it. Let's spoil all the things and do these Shoujo Sundae bits. Take me.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, spoiler alert from here on out. And with that said, let's get into our themes. What was like our overarching like theme ideas for the film? I'll start with Ashley. What was your theme for this film?
Definitely a lot of exploration into kind of reality versus imagination versus dreams, I felt even, and kind of trying to be like, well, how much can you make what you imagine or what you dream into reality, and how much does reality already reflect our imagination and dreams? I feel like there was interesting stuff even just trying to be like, not even about chasing your dreams or feeling that they're reachable, but like believing in them in the first place. Like you have to believe that the dream is reachable before you can just go chase it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, dreams can be brought into reality if you are willing to fight all of the tigers. That's what I learned.
I love that. Yeah. Chika, what's your theme?
I feel like I just had a series of quotes from people.
Okay, mine's a quote too, and you probably have it.
Why didn't you all tell me I was supposed to bring a quote?
No,
you didn't have to. Like,
at first I didn't, and then there was a quote I heard later in the movie. I'm like, that's it. That's the theme, and I wrote it down.
that's the theme.
That's
the
it.
song. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes it's like, okay, straight up theme, and then sometimes I'll just be like, I've got a quote because I wasn't philosophical enough at the time. So the quotes that I have, one, Tsuneo says, "Don't give up on what you love."
Mm-hmm.
Then, when you run out of air, it's my role to help you, and that
Yes.
was from Hayato.
I was like, say it more blatantly. Thank you.
Right. I love that. I kind of like, I wanted to like snap my fingers when he said that. I'm like, oh, yes.
Yes. Then, with wings of the heart, you can fly anywhere, and that is Josee.
Yes, that is my theme as well.
And the last one is, wishing for another's benefit and not your own will never make you vanish, and that's also Josee.
Oh, my heart melts. I love that so much.
Yeah, so that's what I had for theme.
All right, wonderful. And like I said, my theme was also with wings of the heart, you can fly anywhere. With that strength, with that ambition, believing in yourself and in your dreams, you can achieve. And I love that so much as the message of this movie.
Mhm.
Okay, wait. I can do a quote too, but it's actually from the short story, but it relates to
Okay.
what I said, which was just, I forget what they were talking about, but it was, these were her dreams, and while they weren't real, they were undeniably a part of who she was. And I was like, there it is. That's what it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
Let's get into Sprinkles on Top, which is symbolism that we picked out in the film. This time I will start with Chika. Do you have any sprinkles on top for the film?
Yes, so the sprinkles on top that I have, one, there are tigers everywhere. So I think, I mean, yes, it's in the title about like the tiger, but I think Josee just kind of labels anything that frightens her, whether it's like people or I guess a change, as being tigers. So I'm just like, oh, okay, they're ferocious in nature, but maybe they aren't really all that bad, like once you get used to them. At least that's how I took it.
I had a very similar sprinkle on top, like about the tigers. I interpreted it as like strangers and like the unknown is like tigers or beasts, as they also said. I feel like those things are like inherently unpredictable and potentially dangerous. So that was my interpretation of like the things being tigers.
Yeah. The other one I have is the Gilco sign or Glico sign.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma talks about it with a social worker after the social worker was kind of upset with the grandma for not taking Josee out more. And the grandma's like, well, she's been going out. And she's kind of is like a Glico sign, which at first, when you see what the sign is, it's like a man that's running. You're just like, this seems like a really messed up joke, to be quite honest. Like, why would you say that when Josee is in a wheelchair and has never been able to run in her life? But I think the grandma meant it as like, now that Josee's been getting out more, she's ready to take the world by storm. She's ready to go off into the world as if she's running.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then the next thing that I have is Josee cutting her hair.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because I always take that as like, oh, there's a relationship type of change, or there's
Yeah.
some change that's happening within the character. And so I kind of saw it, or at least when we see Josee with her cut hair, I thought like, oh, she's giving up on Tsuneo in that sense. But then also I think it could be attributed to her attempting to give up on her dreams of doing art.
Oh, yeah. I think in that
Yeah.
scene, she even says, like, I'm not Josee anymore.
Yeah. Because her name's it's usually Kumiko,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but she calls herself Josee from this book called Wonderful Clouds by Francois Sagan or Sagan.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know.
Me neither.
I don't know how to. I'm not French.
Yeah.
I wanted to take French in high school, but that didn't pan out.
Oh.
So, but that's besides the point. And let's see. Oh, and then the last sprinkle on top that I have is about Josee's story, the mermaid and the radiant wings or sparkling wings, depending on if you watch dub or sub, I guess.
Okay.
And in the story, Josee depicts Tsuneo as being a man with wings that essentially helps save her character. And I really loved that depiction of him. And it meant a lot to him because, like, at the time, he's in a wheelchair when she's explaining the story at the library. But he came into her world and like he came in with wings and she was able to see so much. And so I like the fact that that's how she saw him. Like, I know when you usually see people with wings, you think, oh, like they're an angel and stuff. And I mean, in a sense, he's a very kind person. It's not like he's perfect, but Tsuneo's a very kind person. He goes out of his way to help people. So it made sense for her to depict him in that way. And it was very beautiful at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. But that is all of my sprinkle on top.
All right, Ashley, what are your sprinkled on top for the film?
So my smaller one was all these like the weird lamps that she has. So one is like a flower lamp that also kind of looks like a jellyfish, and I think that is on purpose.
Mhm.
And then he also makes her a lamp that is a clarion angelfish, which is a rare type of fish that he really likes. And I don't know, Asher and I were reading up on it, and apparently it was really widely like sought in aquariums and stuff, and people would go and take them out of the rare places in Mexico, like the one place in Mexico they're native to, but now that is like mostly illegal to do anyway. So
wow.
I like that she has these two like very distinct lamps that are kind of like little glimmers of hope in the dark that light her way. That's kind of how I interpreted it. And then, as I alluded to earlier, my big one is about the cat and how that relates to the tigers. So I interpreted the cat initially as like, well, cats are 95% related to tigers. And in the beginning of the film, the grandma in particular is trying to be like, the cat is another horror from outside, basically. Like, don't feed it, don't let it in here. That will be disastrous. So obviously, but then through the film, like they start feeding the cat. The cat is basically Jose's by the end. So I was like, no, the cat is her like taming the scary things from outside, and like he's just a representation of how actually the tigers were never even that scary all along and all this stuff. But when I was talking about it with Asher was like, I don't know. I interpreted the role of the cat as something more like Buttercup in the Hunger Games, where it's kind of actually, the Hunger Games actually starts like with very intense scene of Katniss describing her relationship to Buttercup. And you're like, why are we wasting like 3 paragraphs on like talking about this mangy cat that you hate? But Buttercup kind of winds up being a reflection of Katniss. So Asher was like, no, I think the cat was like a reflection of Josee and her feelings about coming out to, like befriending Tsuneo and all these things, and like how she feels and all this stuff. And I was like, I think it could also be like it is a stand-in for Tsuneo, and she like took him in and like let him into her world, and like they take care of each other now. I think the cat means many things, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I do too, because I could see the cat paralleling both Josee and her emotions and also her interpretation of the outside world, because the cat starts off hissing and growling and
Yeah.
kind of being standoffish the way Josee did, and also how she thought she should be towards the world. Like, you know, these are beasts, they're monsters, they could be dangerous, and a cat hissing like that is being on the defensive. And then it eases throughout the film. You can see it, you know, getting cozy and being soft, just the way Josee did, and also how she learned the world maybe isn't that scary after all. So I feel like it can be interpreted both ways for sure.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. So that's my rant about the cat. I also had written down that she cuts her hair, and I wrote, oh no, she cuts her hair for the worst thing.
Oh no.
It's not the positive change, you know? I was like, no.
Yeah.
The thing that killed me was in the scene. I mean, like, it's horrible to say it like that, but so in the scene, I guess, right when they're having their dramatic confrontation, right before he gets hit by a car, and they're arguing, and she's just like, an able-bodied person wouldn't understand. Literally, like, the wind switches direction. So I was like, the winds of change.
Oh,
And then
Oh, God.
followed immediately by like rain. I was like, pathetic fallacy. Like,
yeah.
kill me more.
Mm.
Tell me less, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were mine. I also had written here, yeah, it's my job to save you when you run out of air thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, let us get into Floats Your Boat. I mean, I have a ton, so I'm sure you guys do too. So let's like do a few at a time, perhaps. And if you've got the same thing, we could just chime in and keep things moving. So, Chika, what are a few of your Floats Your Boat?
Okay. Tsuneo, like the start of this film, Tsuneo looks to be one of the most productive college students that I have ever seen in my entire life.
Right? Oh my God.
He is scuba diving. He is going to class. He is working at the dive shop. He is working at a shipping job or what looks to be a cafe. He is constantly doing something or in motion, I guess. And so I like that about him because it's like, okay, I like that about you. I admire that about you. I could never do that. Or at least when I was in college, I did not do all of that.
That is a lot of activity.
Yeah. So I admire that he's able to do like so much. And then of course I have him becoming the human pillow that saves Josee.
Definitely. Oh my God. Yeah.
When she's speeding down this street, I'm just like, oh, A+ guy. Very nice. Very nice, because falling from the wheelchair at that speed directly onto the street, oh, that would have been like a hospital visit.
Oh,
Yeah, that
most
would have been a
definitely.
bad
She
time.
would have got some nice stitches or a broken nose or something. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Just a bad time. So he saved her. So I was like, yes, okay, go guy. And also, I liked how earnest he was in working with Josee after the grandma like sort of hires him on to be a caretaker. So even though she was giving him really inane tasks that seemed cruel, like, oh, just kneel for a long time. I want to know what happens to the human body, like
Right.
when you're kneeling for that long, or count the lines in the tatami mat, get clovers. And it's just like, this is all very irritating busy work. But he was earnestly doing all of it.
Yeah, he got up to 5,000 something and counting the tatami mat lines or something.
Right?
Yeah, that was insane. I was like, oh God, like, and he was really doing it. I'm just like, girl, I'm not gonna do. Or if anything, I would say, where did you buy them from?
Yeah.
Right? Like, where did you buy
Oh my
the
God,
tatami
yeah.
mats? So then I would be like, okay, let me get my good girl Google. Or former good girl Google with
Yeah,
the
I
way
was
things are
like,
panning out. Like, former good, or what is it? The new, let me get my good girl DuckDuckGo. and, or Bing, just any other search service to be like, oh, this is the brand of tatami mat. And then it will probably say within the description, like, how many lines. Or at least I'm hoping it would say that. That's what I would do. But he was really counting them.
Also, I just Googled, sorry, I know we're talking about, I mean, I just searched like how long it would take to count to 5,000.
Yes.
And there's like a thread on Quora, and just like skimming the top post, it said it could take like 83 minutes to count to 5. Imagine just counting. That's insane for that long, doing nothing but counting.
Yeah, no.
I immediately was wondering how long it would take to get to like, count to 5,000. So I'm glad you actually looked that up.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It seems like something that all of us would not do. So, very earnest of him to go do that. But yeah, and Tsuneo meets up with his teacher, and he said that he sent his research paper to a professor at Mexico University.
Mm-hmm.
And the professor there wants Tsuneo to study abroad.
Yeah. And that's awesome. It's like, not only is he so driven, but he's like good at all the stuff he does too.
Yeah. That it like reminded me, side note, it reminded me of the relationship I used to have with, wait, I lied. I'm not going to say that because I don't not want y'all to find out where I am. Like,
okay. Got it.
I was about to just start airing out my stuff, but
Don't
shout out to
yourself.
you. Yeah, right. Shout out to you, professor. I'm thinking of you. I had a history professor that like tried to help me get a scholarship for something many years ago. And so I was just like, oh, feelings.
Oh.
This is so nice, like having a professor believe in you and your work.
Yeah.
And so I really like that. And then before I give it up to somebody else, I loved the scene of Josee swimming in underwater Japan.
Me too. It was so gorgeous with like her skirt flowing in the water and the whale. It was so gorgeously animated.
So beautiful. I was just like, yes, I like it. Now, would I personally do it? No, because I can't swim. I've tried. I can't float. I don't really know why. So it would become a horror story if it was me.
Oh no.
But I do admire the animation of it.
Yeah, it was really gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay, before I move on, I do want to chime in with a floats your boat that was right before that scene when the professor was talking to Tsuneo. Tsuneo gets really fired up and he's like, well, I'm gonna like work harder, I'm gonna like learn more Spanish and blah blah blah. And the professor's like, it's really good that like you're so hardworking, but don't forget to take care of yourself. I really liked that he like reiterated that to him.
Yeah. Especially because we know that he kind of doesn't. Like,
yeah, exactly. Right. And I totally, air quotes, can't relate to that at all.
Yeah, Tsuneo is not relatable actually at all. I
don't
understand. Yeah.
We take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Care.
No, I do try to. I really do. Ashley, what are some of your floats your boat?
Well, first I will just say that Tsuneo is super relatable. In college, like, I didn't have such a clear goal as him, but I definitely just like did a lot of things mostly so that I wouldn't have to think about the goal, but just like so many things all the time. I was like, why? Just chillax, anyway.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm not good at writing down like the little things that I like, but I have a few.
That's okay.
So I really liked him, like, okay, so she's like blowing bubbles. They're just like on a walk or whatever, going on doing all these datey things. And so she starts blowing bubbles, and I guess the wind is blowing them back in his face, and he's like, stop. Not in a mean way. I know I just said it really mean, but he's like, stop.
Stop.
Yeah, like, oh, stop, more like that. So then he gets in front of her. He like flips her around and starts pushing her so that, she's facing him while they're going, and she's being pushed backwards, and they're going really, really fast. And she's like, no, you stop. And I was like, oh, that's cute. That's like nice. I don't see how it would help him if she still decided to blow bubbles. They would still go in his face, but like, okay.
Right. I was thinking the same exact thing, actually.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
Like, the physics of this does not
improve.
It probably gets worse, actually.
Right.
But okay, whatever you feel like, bro. I also loved her, both like the confluence of her feeling ignorant about how the world works because people keep trying to keep her inside and she can't walk and everything. and her like masking that with her gruffness, kind of.
Yeah.
I love that she just started telling like wild lies, like, you know, she's like, I've dated 5 boys at once, and he's like, okay.
He's like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like, you've never ate a crepe. No, I have eaten a crepe. I ate 5 crepes with all 5 of my boyfriends. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, okay. And he's just like, sure.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, definitely. For sure believe you.
As I said, I really loved the interaction of her checking out those books by Segan, or however we say that author's name, and the library assistant or whoever, the librarian, being like, oh, do you like Segan? Me too. What's your favorite book? And her just being like, you know, Josee being like, what? Hi.
Oh, it's
Yes.
me?
Cool. Me? You're talking to me? Like, and then they have a cute interaction. And then the cutest part of it was actually that afterwards, you know, Tsuneo was like, oh, I'm really glad that you made a friend. She was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you were vibing with that. You know?
Right. Like, you guys totally have friend chemistry.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, cool.
I'm like, wow.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, I really liked Tsuneo making the lamp for her.
Oh my
the fish
God.
lamp.
Yeah, that melted my heart.
And then, as I said, I alluded to earlier, I really did like that Hayato wound up being a good boy all along. Like when the things went down, he was like, I am so sorry that Mai said that. She's that is no good. And then, you know, he goes after Tsuneo gets hit by the car and he's in the hospital. Hayato comes and is like, I've gotten permission for you to leave for a little bit. Isn't that fun, my friend? And Tsuneo's just like, no, I hate everything. Life sucks. Blah. And Hayato's like, nope, buddy. That's when he says it's my job to to make sure you can breathe when you run out of air. And he's just like, we're doing this thing. I'm your best friend. I've got you, bro. Let's go. And I was like, yes.
Yes.
Those are my floats.
Okay, I'll do a few of mine. I just want to note, because I know we like just talked about like they did datey stuff. The beach scene, there is some rocky road at the beach, but like him carrying her into the ocean, like we can all agree that's kind of hot and romantic, right?
Oh yeah, the ocean dance.
I like that initially he wasn't princess carrying her. He was just like, schlep.
Yeah.
Like you're a sack of potatoes. And then they get into the ocean. He's like, all right, fine.
Right. Like, and I know like the vibes weren't like supposed to be inherently romantic, but like it got me. Like I really, really liked that. And again, it was just like so captivating the way that it played out on screen, and like in the manga as well, the way it was drawn. I just really, really loved that scene.
Yeah, that scene was really evocative even in the manga, just like both of their faces, their happy faces, like wrapped around each with their, you know, yeah, I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was really cute. I love that at the aquarium, Josee is fascinated by all of the fish, and Tsuneo is basically like the Wikipedia page for every fish that she points at. I thought that's so cute. I feel like that's like a really good dynamic where it's like, oh, this is cool. It's like, I know all the things about it. That's like really, really, really cute to me.
She's like, okay, fish nerd. Like,
right. Also, this is a strictly Giana floats your boat, and I'm sure Chika expected me to have this written. Tsuneo is a secret glasses guy.
Here we go.
We get one.
I was like, what is this gonna be?
Here we go.
Okay.
We get one scene of him like studying wearing glasses, and I'm like, of course, like he was already a catch, but now we learn that he wears glasses too.
All right, you love the Meganes secretly.
I love a glasses guy. I really do. I can't help it.
Yeah. They usually end up being evil.
Oh, so you
like,
gravitate.
Giana needs to rejoice
you
in this
for the
one.
nice ones. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. I gotta savor this good one.
Yeah.
I really liked Josee reading The Little Mermaid to the children at the library. Even though they weren't like all super entertained by the reading, there was like one who stayed and wanted to watch her draw the princess castle and everything. And this ends up snowballing into Kana seeing Josee's art and being like, more people should see this, and really kind of lighting a fire under her to like realize what her passion is. I really, really loved the way that played out, because it was all just stuff that happened. She kind of just got sucked into this whirlwind of like, oh, the kids need to be read to. I guess I'll try this. And like all of a sudden she like realizes how much she loves art so deeply after that. I really liked that.
Yeah.
So when Tsuneo gives Josee the lamp of the fish and he has to like fix it because it's stopped working for a minute, there's that beautiful tension. There's that beautiful tension where it's like he kind of like looks at her and he's just like, you can like see the shot of her lips. It's like, oh, is he looking at her lips? Does he want to kiss her? Is this like, ooh, is this happening? But she's like taken so off guard by it. She does headbutt him. I think that in and of itself is a little bit more banana split because like I understand pushing him away if she was like kind of scared by the whole thing and like didn't really know what to do in that moment. But I really, really liked the tension in that scene.
Yeah.
All right, Chika, what are more of your floats your boat?
I liked the grandma's little laugh and dance after Josee got herself all put together. And she did her hair. And then Tsuneo shows up and then she's just like, oh, like the world isn't all that scary and stuff. And the grandma's just like taken aback at first. And then she laughs and it's like, woohoo. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So you are rooting for it. Like, yeah, okay, grandma. Nice. And I like that, at least while they're out, Josee tells Tsuneo that he inspired her to like want to work harder and to want to make art her official profession.
Yeah. She says, I want to take my life into my own hands, just like you.
Yeah. And so it was just really beautiful to see that.
Mm-hmm.
My next floats your boat is kind of like far off into the future. So it's post Rip Grandma.
Yeah.
It's that. It's also post the accident. So get well soon, Tsuneo leg. I think it is when Hayato ends up taking Tsuneo to the library to see Josee.
Okay. I had 2 like before that, if you want to.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Or maybe 3, but they're all very quick.
Okay.
I really liked the way Josee was open with Tsuneo when they were looking at the tigers. When she says, I wanted to see the scariest one with you. I thought if you were here, I could do it. If I got scared, I could cling to you. I liked that. I liked that she feels safe with him. That's very, very important. I also liked that despite Josee not being able to afford Tsuneo as a caretaker anymore, he says that he doesn't want to stop taking care of her.
Yeah.
That was like major, for him to come out and say it. Especially even if she wasn't like really hearing it, just the fact that he wanted those words to reach her and that he meant it. And also just the fact that he wanted Josee to be there when he was discharged from the hospital. Like, what a sweet ask. Oh my God. It's like the first person I want to like be back in the world with is you. Oh, yeah. My heart.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Okay, so Tsuneo was in the hospital and Hayato goes to visit him and he is kind of upset because he doesn't feel like going out. But Hayato's just like, no, we are going to go out. I have to help you breathe. Like, you know the quote, guys, because we've already
said it 5
Yeah.
times. You got to memorize already.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just liked that he took the initiative to go and take him outside of the hospital and stuff. And I love that they all kind of coordinated together to create this moment for him. Because, like, yes, Josee made up this story, created the art for this story, but then she also worked with Kana on like the dialogue parts and had to coordinate with Hayato to bring Tsuneo in the first place to the library. So I was just glad that Hayato participated. And also just the story in and of itself, I thought that it was so beautiful for her to think of this way to not only encourage him, but then also to let Tsuneo know what her feelings are essentially towards him and how she sees him. Because of the fact that he got hurt and he's questioning his dreams and he's questioning himself and whether he really wants to go out to Mexico still, if he can still walk the same and stuff. Like, having someone speak so highly of you, especially in this manner, is really heartfelt. And like, it incorporated things that he also complimented about her, about how she does her art. And I mean, of course, the story in itself is very beautiful, but I liked the fact that part of the story is Josee as this mermaid is supposed to ask this wish of this clam. And if she asks this wish or she asks for another wish, then she'll turn into sea foam and vanish. And what I really loved is that because she asked for essentially Tsuneo's character to get help, rather than her vanishing, she was still able to be the mermaid that she was previously because she was helping him. And so I like that in her own story, like she doesn't end up diminishing herself.
Yeah. I really, really liked the story. I was so torn about putting it in Floats Your Boat or Rocky Road. I ended up putting it in Rocky Road just because I felt myself on the brink of crying for like the majority of the story.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, like we can compartmentalize. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely both of those segments for me because like I don't know that I'd really be able to elaborate on it more than you did just now in Floats Your Boat with all the detail, but yeah, what a gorgeous story. Like the amount of effort to go into it to like essentially just show him and thank him and make him know like exactly how she feels about him and how she views him is so beautiful.
Yeah. This was one of the things that I'll just bring it up now because it naturally goes, but like this was one of the scenes that when I read it in the manga versus watching it in the movie, like it's not that it's bad in the animated movie or anything, but I think being able to read it at my own pace made it more emotional for me and want to actually cry because I was like, I could read it and be like, okay, I see all the metaphors more clearly and I can take it a little bit slower.
Yeah.
And so that reading this part in the manga actually like made it hit more for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, to touch on the fact that it could also go with Rocky Road, you get to see Tsuneo crying as well. Like he claps and he's also crying. He's the first to clap too. But I think just the idea that you could help someone and it impacts them to the point that they create something brand new in dedication to you. Like it's such a beautiful sentiment and thought. And that did make me cry. Like when I was just like, oh my gosh, okay. But I think for me, the floats your boat with this is just the fact that even within her own story, like she didn't shortchange herself, which she had initially done like prior to the accident, or she attempted to do it, just be like, I have to give up on stuff. It's out of reach. And it's like, no, it's not out of reach.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also thought it was cute that Tsuneo asked Josee to meet him once he got discharged, and it was on Christmas Eve. And it's like at this point where I was just like, okay, the vibes have changed.
Yeah.
The way he asked, I was like, the vibes have definitely changed.
Oh, yeah. It's like I could sense them starting to change, when he was just like, I mean, the fact that he was like, I still want to take care of you was huge for me. I think that's when I knew absolutely for certain that he was like set on her and not just like feeling obligation or like maybe a little bit drawn to her. It felt like pretty solid.
No, he's only doing it for pity, Giana. Come on.
Oh my God. Oh, we will. We'll get there. But oh my goodness. Yeah. On Christmas Eve too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why, like, the way that kind of went off, I was just like, but, happy endings. So,
yes.
Tsuneo does end up getting everybody to go look for Josee, which I appreciated that as well, because it's like you just came out of the hospital and you're already, like, galvanizing the crew to just be like, hey, it looks like her place is boxed up, but she's not here, but the cat's here. I can't find her. We all need to be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Even Mai was on the lookout, like,
right.
to just figure out, like, where she was. But yeah, and I'm surprised I didn't. Maybe I put that in Rocky Road. Yeah, I guess I put the confession in Rocky Road.
Oh, I have it in Floats Your Boat.
Okay, cool.
May I?
Yes, because my last one is essentially the ending.
Okay. So, just like at the beginning of the film, Tsuneo is there to catch Josee when she is falling out of her chair again, going down a steep hill. There was an accident, where she bumped into somebody and ended up going down that steep hill again and falling out of her chair. And he's there to catch her once more. And after that, happens, we do have a beautiful confession scene where Tsuneo confesses his love for Josee. And I really love that it was him first and not her, because it was obvious through a lot of the movie that she kind of like fell for him pretty quickly. And I love that he was able to confess first and give her the security to confess her feelings back. He's like, yeah, I do have to go abroad, but I love you and I want to keep taking care of you. Like, it's so clear, if it wasn't already, that it is not sympathy, it is love. And we get this misty-eyed, snowy Christmas Eve kiss, which is so beautiful. So, so, so beautiful. And she's like, oh, that's not how I imagined, but like in a good way. And then she confidently takes his face in her hands and she kisses him. So that played out perfectly for me. I really, really, really enjoyed the beats of that confession scene.
I did as well. Well, actually, I found out where I put this. We'll get there.
Oh no.
It's not Rocky Road. I put it in Rocky
It wasn't
Road.
in Rocky Road. And then once I found out where it was, I was like, oh, I see why I remembered why.
Oh no. Okay.
We'll get there. I mean, I think it was a beautiful confession. I like how it was executed. So that's floats your boat. I like how it was executed.
All right.
I just had it somewhere else.
What was your last floats your boat? Because mine's the post credits.
Same.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Tsuneo ends up surprising Josee because she is at this park area where there's all these cherry blossoms, and she had mentioned it earlier when they were seeing all of the leaves in the same place, and she told Tsuneo that he could like take her back to see the cherry blossoms. But of course, by the time that was going to be happening, he would have been in Mexico. And he was in Mexico, but he ends up surprising her because they had spring break and they get to see the cherry blossoms together.
Yeah, I love that he was able to surprise her. Like, what a beautiful surprise. I know Chika and I think we talked about this when we reviewed Whisper of the Heart, but the idea of like seeing that long distance partner after a long period of time, it's just like so magical to get that pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But are we ready to move into Banana Split?
Sure.
All right. So, Banana Split, which is our segment where it's like maybe there was some confusion, or maybe we just weren't sure what segment to place it in, or it's like there was some good, some bad, split opinion. Banana Split. So, Ashley, what are some of your Banana Split for the film, if you have any?
I don't know if this is so much like a question, more as like a mild critique of the film. But I'm like, I really felt like in the beginning, you know, y'all were talking about like those scenes where Josee gets to be swimming through like cities or like seems to be underwater, kind of becomes the fish and all these things. And I just felt like the beginning of the film, and again, we brought up too that like the grandma talks about the outside like there are literal demons or beasts out there. Like that's the language that they're using in the beginning of the story. And so we get all these beautiful like metaphorical levels of everything. But I just didn't feel like that was kept up consistently. Like I felt like 25% of the way through, it's like, no, we kind of just live in reality and understand the difference between like what's happening. But it did leave me confused in the beginning because I was like, oh yeah, is there going to be like legit magical things happening in this film? And then like, no.
Yeah, it threw me off a little bit too. The way they talked about like beasts and tigers and stuff. I'm like, ooh,
like,
is there like
Devil Man?
an underground like magical thing going on?
Oh God, not Devil Man.
I was like, is this like Devil Man? The people are like actually. Are there little spirit creatures? Yeah.
They're like Tokyo Ghoul.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. Like, you know, like, but no.
I would say, like, when it comes to that, I think that the grandma talking about beasts is actually more of a remnant from the live action than it is anything else. Because if you, which we'll get to it, but it makes more sense in the live action because of things that happen. But in the anime and the manga, I'm not sure why it was so like they don't really provide you with the motivation of why the grandma was saying that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I understand why it could be like confusing because it's like, why are you saying that? Or why, like, when the social worker was like, you need to take her out more, and she's just like, I'm not going to do that. It's like, why aren't you?
Yeah. So definitely like a overall question was kind of like, I felt like some backstory for why the grandma in particular was like this, but like, I don't know, even, like we got a glimpse of what life was like for Josee with her dad. Like they used to go on walks and see the cherry blossoms and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I definitely felt like some backstory for certain characters was missing, such that it made their motivations for what they were doing in the present day make sense to the viewer off the bat. And it was just kind of like, eh.
And like the grandma's attitude actually was what made me put her like laughing and kind of like shrugging off the fact that Josee says, you know, the world isn't all that scary. Like she was so adamantly opposed for assuming like forever about her like going outside and doing things, and now all of a sudden it's like, whatever, crazy kids, you go out and do your stuff. Like what?
I actually didn't interpret it that way.
Oh, okay.
More because like, don't we see her laughing, and then like pretty like the next time we see the grandma, she is dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I interpreted it more as like she kind of knew she was gonna die.
Oh.
And then like her life would be terrible. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's dark that way, huh?
Okay. I did not interpret it that. I think the way that I saw it was so at first she was very adamant of what she did to Tsuneo is also a different segment, but of like Josee not going out. But then they go out anyway.
Yeah.
And when the grandma has the conversation with the social worker, she says that even though she herself doesn't take Josee out, that she has been going out. And that's when she said that Josee is like the Glico sign.
Yeah.
Running around. So,
but I still didn't interpret that fully positively either. Like to me, it felt like she was like, okay, social worker, you want this to happen. It is happening. I feel like she's gonna run away. And I guess that's like, obviously the sign is positive and we can interpret it positively, but I think there is also that flip side of like, she is just gonna run away and then like, and then what?
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I think at first, I just kind of saw it as a weird, or not a weird progression. I thought that there was progression, and she didn't want her to go out. Then she knew she was going out, and she didn't stop it, even though she knew she was going out.
Yeah.
And then afterward, once she sees Josee getting herself all like put together, which he never really does, to go out with Tsuneo, I saw like that laugh and skip as like, oh, there's
actual hope in the world.
Right. Like if I'm not doing it, then, you know, we can trust Tsuneo to do it and take care of her.
Yeah. And that's why she could pass.
Right. I was just going to say, I didn't know if anybody else interpreted it this way, but I almost wonder if like she was just like, in a way, holding on, even if it's subconscious, you know, to life to take care of Josee until somebody else came along who was fit enough to like take care of her. And then with the security that Tsuneo has been giving her and seeing that like Josee feels safe going outside for the first time really with this guy, it's like she's so at peace that she was able to pass.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a real thing.
With this anime and manga interpretation, I can see it like that. Yeah.
Yes.
I was trying to remember what was said about the grandma's health within the movie.
I don't think anything was said. She just like died. Like it was very jarring. In the manga, it was so jarring. Like it's like one frame they're going out, the next frame you see them carrying a coffin. I'm like, whoa.
That might have been how I got to that like greater impression of it too, because I was like, didn't it happen like immediately after she dies? Like she skips, and then she just dies.
It's immediate. Like, next page.
So that's why I was like, what? For sure. Yeah, I was confusing because in the short story they definitely mention that she has like a weak heart, like thing. I think those are all like fair interpretations, honestly.
Yeah.
This is kind of a dumb one, and I might just have missed it somehow in both watching and reading. Okay, I like kind of remember, but I was like, was it made super clear? Okay, so Josee, Tsuneo goes to her house when she doesn't come to get him out of the hospital on Christmas Eve. And then the cat is still there, and the cat is scratching at a particular box, and he opens the box and he finds the broken lamp that he had made. Like, it is actually just legit broken. It has a little like missing piece broken off of it. And I was like, okay, I remember in an earlier scene the lamp fell.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We were not shown explicitly that it was broken then. I guess that's how it broke, but I also was like, what? I didn't fully understand what that scene overall was supposed to convey. Like, why was the cat scratching at the box so hard? Why would he open it?
Mm,
What did he get out of the broken lamp? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't really understand the whole sequence, really.
No, I was concerned when that part, like when I was watching that part, I was just like, is she gonna harm herself? And that's why
Yeah.
like she just had the stuff boxed up, like I guess to make it easier on people. So like when he found her, I was just like, oh, okay, great. Like she's not. But
Yeah.
I was just, like at first, like, and that's something else. Like I also had it in Banana Split. Like we never really find out. Like why did you box up all of your stuff like that, Josee? Like what was
Right,
going
like,
on?
I was
Yeah, we don't know.
What?
Why didn't you show up to go get him from the hospital?
Well, I realized, at least I guess in the manga, I realized she never actually agreed
Yeah, she
to
didn't.
pick him up.
She didn't.
just said something like very non-committal.
She was like, oh, thank you, right? Like
Yeah.
touching her chest. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, and he probably took it like, oh, it meant something to her. And then she's just like, I don't know what she was like because I didn't understand it. But like, okay.
Yeah, I just felt like that entire sequence of events, I was like, I don't really know what's going through either of your minds as you're like trying to find or avoid each other on this day. Like, I didn't really get it. Like, it's fine, it doesn't ruin the movie or the story or anything, but it was just kind of weird. Kind of made me be like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I was confused by that as well because like he asks her to essentially pick him up from the hospital and she's like, oh my god, I'm like so happy like that you would ask that or whatever, and then doesn't show up. The narrative felt like weak a little bit there.
Yeah, like it just had to add that like one last trial for them, and it's like, I don't know, man.
I feel like the easy fix for that would have been like something happened on her way there that made her get like stuck, and then, you know, maybe she like gets out of that delay and then they're all looking for her and then the accident happens. Like I feel like a more legitimate reason like that could have bridged it together a little bit better than this like, I don't know why she skipped out.
I don't know why she skipped out. I don't know what he saw, like what he interpreted any of these boxes or what was in the box to mean. Like,
Yeah.
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 It's weird.
Do you have any more Banana Split?
No, those were my.
Okay. Chika, what are your banana split?
I wondered what Tsuneo's financial situation was because he had so many jobs. Because I was just like, okay, is he like, was he an orphan? And so he's just working on his own. Did he not have a scholarship at the current university he was attending? I just had many questions surrounding that in the very beginning. And then, unless a professor is the head of a particular department, they don't have the authority to tell a student from another school to study abroad at their school. I wonder if the professor at Mexico University just meant that Tsuneo should study abroad and work with him, but it doesn't have the level of onus that the movie implies.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounded like maybe he was like high up in the program or whatever at the college. So like maybe he had the power over that to like accept or deny students for that program.
I just question that because like before he retired, my dad was a professor and stuff. And I mean, maybe this is just, what is it? Suspending your disbelief, I guess.
Yeah.
In that particular situation. But it's just like professors don't have the power to just tell somebody at some other school to like go and study abroad here and like that doesn't really happen like that. Like, I know there's like program expenses and things like that, and it kind of goes through multiple people or like committees, like stuff. There's a lot of logistics, like administrative logistics that are attached to that. So I was just like, took me out a little bit. The next thing that I had was the neighbors calling social services.
Oh, you have that in Banana Split?
Yeah.
Oh, I have that in like Hot Fudge.
Oh, okay. Well, the reason I had it in Banana Split was because it's like, okay, I understand the overall sentiment because one, they were at least aware enough to know that that grandma had a granddaughter that was in a wheelchair and that the grandma was taking care of her. And so now that the grandma is like gone, who's taking care of her? So from a community standpoint, because they might not have had much interaction with Josee, but at least they were aware enough of her to be like, hey, like, is she getting help? Because she normally would get help. And I don't think that they understood that the grandma was kind of keeping Josee away from people, or like not having her go out as much or not taking her out as much as she could have, to give her that stability or structure needed for her to know how to do certain things. Like, okay, she can go to the grocery store and do this, or she can do X, Y, and Z. So since they didn't see it themselves, I understood why they did it. But then at the same time, I didn't particularly like it, or at least the Mr. Fujita guy. That's another segment for me. That was hot fudge for me, what he said.
Yeah, me too.
So it's like, I understood it was Banana Split because it's like I understood why the neighbors did it, and it was based off of how the grandma sort of set things up or how she led people to believe Josee was. But then at the same time, I was just like, I don't particularly like the way that it was going either.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I absolutely understand where you're coming from. I feel like they could have knocked on her door and been like, hey, as neighbors, like, everything okay? Instead of just like calling a number on her. But that's just how I feel.
I was like, normally you should like try on your own first, and then
Right.
if she doesn't answer the door like 3 times, you'd be like, all right.
Then it's like, is she okay in there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I think I just assumed that they had communicated with her because of the fact that they did the funeral. So like, since they did the funeral, I'm just like, oh, the neighbors saw the funeral or came. And I think I was giving a little bit more grace at that point.
That's
I'm
okay.
Like, oh,
That's okay.
Yeah. And then the last Banana Split that I have, you're not gonna like this. I didn't fully get with the romantic plot. Like,
Okay.
I didn't fully like get with it. Like, I understood it, but then at the same time, I was just kind of like,
You didn't feel they had chemistry?
Because Josee was so abrasive in the beginning.
She was, yeah.
She was so abrasive in the beginning, and then it felt as if, like, okay, Tsuneo's gonna go to Mexico and do his thing, and this is kind of like a job. I feel that they could have done more, at least for me, to be like, oh, this is going to be romantically like led.
Oh, okay.
Because the moments that they had in it, I'm just like, okay, the lamp, right? He brings the lamp, and then there's the tension scene where it's like, are they gonna kiss? And when I was seeing it, I was just kind of like, why are they gonna kiss? Like,
They had the beach scene before that.
Right. All the like montage almost of like outings they did. Especially with like the movie. I don't know. Something about that and the way they were just like talking about it afterwards was just like really cute to me. Like, it really hit like a romantic chord for me.
I agree with your opening assessment that like she was so, I think that's what I was trying to say earlier too, about like the tone just overall in the beginning was so far away from where I felt like 75% of the movie wound up being.
Yeah.
But like the residual of that does leave a weird taste in your mouth for the rest of it, right?
Like, yeah, like I think because she was so abrasive in the beginning, it threw me off guard. So rather than seeing it like, oh, this is going to be a romantic relationship, I thought it was going to be like, oh, this is a platonic relationship that eventually is going to go into becoming romantic. And so then once it started getting romantic, then I was just like, wait, what? Because like, okay, like, I mean, I liked the montage of them going to all these different things, but I was just like, oh, like they're just genuinely like hanging out, and he's making sure that she's able to see as much as she can while he's with her before he leaves. And so I think for me, like, oh, this is y'all are just you'll be like, Chika's a late bloomer. It wasn't really like romantic to me, or it wasn't solidified to me until she was doing the story at the library.
Wow.
I was like,
okay.
Oh yeah, wow.
like it was like, oh, okay, it's deep. Okay, I'm here.
No, I was definitely like, oh, they did that twirly thing on the beach, like done.
It's funny. It's like I didn't even feel it. Like I felt like that the beach scene was a romantic looking scene, but I didn't feel romance between them yet.
Yeah,
But it was setting you up.
Exactly. They were priming me though.
but I was not there. It was setting it up, and I was just like, they're friendly. That's nice.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, twirl her around, so no one else is doing it. Like,
oh my
Twirl
god.
her around as casual friends do.
Yeah. Don't you twirl your bros around?
I mean, I would expect that from my guy friends if you're like bigger or taller than me and stuff. Like, yeah, pick me. Like, I don't know. I mean,
Hey, fellas, is it gay to twirl your friends around?
I don't know. I was just like, So I hadn't really bought into it until the library scene. And so it was just kind of like, especially with when Mai came around and was just doing her thing, I was just like, girl, like what? Another segment, but it was just like,
oh yeah.
like I was just like, where? I'm like, why is Mai acting like this?
Ugh.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
And then like to Josee, because I was just like, where are you? And then I was just like, oh, okay, I guess like rivals. Like once I got it, I was just like, oh, cool.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's all of my bananas.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna go through mine super quickly. So, my first banana split is just that I was fascinated by the 7-Eleven product placement instead of it being called like 813 or whatever.
Right? I was also like, wow, you just straight up got to put a 7-Eleven in there. They must have sponsored you or something.
Yeah. I was like, that's a whole 7-Eleven.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was a little thrown off by the grandma inviting Tsuneo in for food immediately.
Yeah.
I understand like he did something very kind and there's like a repayment because like his food was destroyed in the falling, but I'm like, me from Philadelphia, I am not inviting somebody into my apartment.
Right.
That's met me. Absolutely not.
She just said that the world is full of scary beasts. Come to my house. What?
Right. I mean, yeah, that's what doesn't really make it's like, okay, what?
Right. And then after this like 30-minute interaction of eating dinner with him and like sort of getting to know him, hey, can I hire you to take care of this like young person?
Like this lends to y'all's theory that she really did want Josee to go outside, but she herself was too scared to like do it. Like she was doing things contradictory to the mouth words that were coming out.
Yeah. I was also banana split that Tsuneo entered Jose's room when she wasn't home. That's not super cool. Don't do that.
Right. Like, I understand him opening the door to see if she's in there and, like, I guess looking from the doorway, but he went in.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Anime boys always be bad like that.
Right. Okay, just two more. Later in the film, it's clear that Josee misses Tsuneo and she's like kind of, I don't know if jealous is the word, about his like relationships with like other people and like maybe his proximity to like other women at like the store he works at. And I was like a little off put by Kana's response because she's like sort of like complaining about this at the library, and Kana, instead of like maybe offering her actual time to talk about her feelings or like an ear or a shoulder, Kana just kind of giggles at her and she's like, you're so easy to figure out. I'm like, well, maybe she needs to talk about it. It sounds like she needs to like process this a little bit. Like, I don't know how deep their friendship goes, but like it would have been cool if she was just like, hey, maybe we can like talk about it sometime if you need to.
Right, because that was some. Well, I don't know where. Maybe I had it in Ice Cream You Scream, but when she was saying all that stuff to Kana, I was like, "Oh, first of all, you're projecting." Because when was he looking at all these different girls? Like,
Yeah, that's her own insecurity talking for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, and so it was like her saying that. That was another reason why I was just like, I don't know. I feel like there's more people like me that just didn't see the romance until the library. Like.
No, it was there.
It was there.
know.
It was there for me. Yeah. Okay, my last banana split was when Tsuneo is looking for Josee at the end of the film, and he goes to where like that tiger. What's the word for it? Where the tiger
Exhibit?
is. Yeah,
The zoo?
something like that at the zoo. I
Okay.
just didn't know. There was like, I feel like
Okay, yeah.
I don't want to say encampment. There's like a word and I don't know what it is, but it's where the tiger is. And I'm like, that fence is way too short.
Right.
Tiger, a whole ass tiger to be behind. He can leap over that at any moment.
And horrible conditions, because what do you mean like he's in the snow?
Right? Yeah, I was thinking that too. I'm like, is he warm enough? What a baby.
That reminded me of seeing a tiger. I saw a tiger when I was working in India, and
Whoa.
like it was so malnourished. It was very sad.
Oh no.
Y'all need to take better care of your animals, even the exotic animals that are in zoos.
Yes, 100%. But with all that banana split out of the way, let us get into Rocky Road, which is the segment where we get emotional, things that made us want to cry, feel the heavy emotions. Let us start with Ashley. What are some of your Rocky Road points?
Yeah, so I realized earlier when I was like, I guess I don't like a lot of things. I was like, oh, maybe it's because I'm just really emotional and I put them.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll try not to like dwell on ones we've already said before. So like, yeah, the scene where they go to the zoo and she's like, I wanted to see the scariest thing so I could cling to you. I was like, oh, that's sweet. I think actually we haven't really brought up this one, but so Tsuneo talks about, again, this fish that he's like, my parents were divorced and I was lonely, so I went to the local fish store every day. You know, normal children things. Like whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, and they had this awesome, angelfish that's from Mexico. And that's the whole reason I want to go to Mexico is like because of this rare, cool fish that I saw that I based the lamp on and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, but they like to live in shoals and stuff. So, the fish must have been lonely. And then Josee tells him, no, the fish wasn't lonely because you went to visit it every day. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
precious children.
yeah. That scene got me too, for sure.
It was very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Josee saying that she can't afford to pay Tsuneo anymore after the grandma's death. And I was like, girl, no, he loves you. He doesn't care.
I know. Oh my God. It's not about the money. It's about you.
It's not about the money. It's about you. He loves you. Stop it. I also put her cutting her hair, not her cutting her hair, but seaming it throughout her art and realizing that the ocean is just a big bucket of tears. Cause in the beginning of the movie, like the reason that they're twirling around and she's so excited is because she was like, in the past, my dad or whoever like asked me what does the ocean taste like? And I never actually went. I was too scared or something. And so she goes and she tastes it and she's like, it is salty. That's awesome. But then the second time we're like at the beach with both of them, she's crying. So it's like she realizes that it's just a horrible place of tears rather than like where dreams go to flourish.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. This one like legit made me tear up. I think both like, watching the anime movie and reading the manga. But just I think that Tsuneo getting hit by a car is corny. Like I'm just gonna get that out there. The getting hit by a car part is not like compelling. I don't even think his medical diagnosis fully fit. Oh yes, this was what I was also going to put in Banana Split, and then I forgot again. Was like, I was like, okay, so they're like, there's potential that you'll never be able to walk correctly again, Tsuneo, because his like ankle broke in such a way that they couldn't put it fully back together as it's supposed to. And then he's like, I might never be able to dive again. And I was like, wouldn't you still be able to swim? Like,
Right.
whatever.
I wasn't sure about the logistics of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't buy that one, but okay. But yeah, him, having to deal with the fallout of getting hit by a car and them being like, yeah, you were a perfectly able-bodied person before, and like probably you'll still be able to do most of the things that you could do before, and it's fine. But like maybe it's not fine, or like you'll still feel a little bit bad about it because you lost a little bit of mobility or have some extra pain. I was like, yeah. That hits me as a person who had like fairly serious surgeries fairly young and like has lost part of my eyesight now. So I was like, yeah, I get you. Too relatable. Don't bring the sads like that.
No, yeah. In a slightly similar way, something I did not share on any of the podcasts was I was actually in a car accident a few months ago, and I did end up in the hospital for a couple days. And luckily, everything's fine. Everything's functional. I was as safe as I could be in the situation. But like, it kind of hit me to be like, wow, because like that stuff does happen when you don't expect it on a normal day, and suddenly your life can be completely altered. Luckily, mine was not, but it could have been if anything was slightly different. And just like hearing him go through that, like really hit me too.
See, like I'm like in 2022, I had 2 brain surgeries and my car got T-boned on Christmas. I was
oh
like,
my
okay,
God.
2022, delete you. Like,
oh my God, yes. Delete. Alt F4, like 2022.
Yeah, I was like, get out. I hate you. I hate you. So like, yes, I get you, bro.
Yeah. That's me at 2024, by the way.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Like we all have to delete one of the years. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously like the alternate mermaid story that she wrote, I was like, oh, I feel things. And then I really liked the confession scene, but I don't know, Chika, if it was like this in the live action movie, but it sure is different in the short story, so we'll get there.
Wow.
No, no, it was. Oh my gosh, guys, don't ever watch the live action.
Now I feel like I need to.
No, we're just going to tell you what happens once we get through this. Okay, yes. Somebody else go.
Okay. Chika, what are your rocky road?
My rocky road, one of the things I understand the grandma being protective of Josee, but I wonder if she thinks about what will happen to her after she is gone. And that was like kind of in the beginning of the film when I wrote that down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's personal to me too, because like one of my mom's best friends died, right? And then her daughter, the best friend's daughter, kind of had friction with my mom, but we were trying to figure out what to do because the daughter lived in another state and my mom's best friend lived where we live, and she has a brother that is special needs. And so he ended up being taken by like the state. And then they were trying to figure out, okay, funeral arrangements, this, and that. And then the daughter ended up passing away as well.
Wow.
So now from time to time, it's like one of the good things that my mom does is that she'll like go and check in on the son, right? Just to be like, see how he's doing at like the facility and stuff that he's at. And so that was something, or at least when I watched this, I thought about that and I was just like, I have so much like sympathy for like family that are like kind of the main caretakers of their family members that are disabled or like that need extra support and stuff, because like that type of thing would give me anxiety. And so I was wondering like how the grandma could manage that, or like why she was sort of ignoring it, because you know that the social worker was technically trying to say like, you know, she needs to be able to get out into the world more, she needs to be able to adjust. And then the next thing that I have was just Josee's dad passing away before he could tell her what the sea tastes like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so seeing her like try to physically drag herself to the ocean made me very emotional. So I was glad that Tsuneo picked her up and like she was able to taste it, and they had the little dance by the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then once I found out that Josee was 24, I was emotional, but I don't know if this is like right for Rocky Road. Like I was emotional for Josee, but upset at the grandma at the same time, because I'm like, okay, Josee's 24 years old and you are trying to not let her see the world.
Yeah, it is frustrating for sure.
Yeah.
I understood like why Josee was as abrasive as she was and not really used to people because of how her grandma like raised her. And like it made me feel bad because it's like, you know, she could have had so many more friends and more life experiences and kind of be used to dealing with people and how they interact with her because of her disability if she was able to get out more. So I felt for her in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the first person Tsuneo asked about when he woke up after his accident was Josee. So that made me emotional.
I have that as well. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. My gosh. He's like, is she injured? You know, he's not worried about his own
Yeah.
condition. It's about if she's okay. That's
Mhm.
love. That is love.
That's true love.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep trying to convince Chika. This is gonna be like, no.
It's like, I'm telling you, I would have been with y'all. I think the live action poisoned me. Like,
Oh,
it's,
no.
they poisoned me so bad that it's like, I'm like off kilter. But yeah, it's like, I get that it's love. I get it from like from over there standpoint. Like, I can recognize the signs now.
That's good.
Yeah. And yeah, and then I also just, when it comes to Suneo's accident, I did feel bad that he got into this accident, and I think it just goes to show how easily like people can go from being able-bodied to being disabled.
Yeah.
It could happen to anyone. Well, not that it could happen. It happens to everyone because
Yeah.
the older that you get, like the more faculties that you end up losing. Random PSA, but not really. But you know, like we should be
Aging
there
is
for
scary.
everybody. Like, yeah, like aging is scary. No one should be ableist
Yes.
because it's going to happen to you
Mm-hmm.
eventually
Yeah.
if you live
Eventually.
if you live long enough. Maybe you'll die. I don't know that. Not that you have
Jesus.
to die. But I'm just saying.
Oh.
Live long and prosper, friend.
Oh,
Live long and
Rocky Road.
prosper. Yeah. But yeah, so that's my Rocky Road.
Okay, I'll go through mine that we haven't covered. So, Hayato, at the beginning of the movie, this is a very personal Rocky Road. I don't expect everyone to relate to this. He says, you only have one summer when you're 22, you know? And as a girl who had a rough, kind of sad early 20s, that hit me in a personal way. My next Rocky Road was actually the clovers, the 4-leaf clovers, when Tsuneo collects 10 4-leaf clovers for Josee and he gives them to her as one of her like tasks. I interpreted this, I don't know if everybody interpreted it this way, but when he gave them to her, a couple seconds pass and she's like, nothing's happening. I guess it was a lie or something, that like your wish will come true if you get 10 4-leaf clovers. And I'm like, did she like wish for something to happen about like her condition? Because it's like really heartbreaking. That's how I interpreted that. Later in the film, Josee is uncomfortable when she gets a look into Tsuneo's life, like at his workplace. She seems to be kind of like socially anxious, and there's like a lot of people and stimulation there. It seems like she's also comparing herself maybe to the women who entered the shop as well. Like I think in the manga in particular, she's like looking at what she's wearing and what they're wearing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was like, in the manga, it made it a lot more clear to me what I was supposed to be focusing on in that scene. Because admittedly, watching the animated movie, I was again a little confused. I was like, what exactly upsets you? Like, I know that Mai obviously is like a rival, but otherwise I didn't really get what was upsetting. But then in the manga, not only is she like comparing what she's wearing to like these very stereotypically pretty girls. But I think it also really gave me the visceral sense of her like height disadvantage, basically.
Yeah.
Like she's always at their hip level and stuff. And I was like, that's awkward.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I'm just like, that's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
Tsuneo is basically her whole world right now. And in this scene, she's learning that she's only a part of his. And that's really, that's hard to deal with.
Yeah.
I did put an obligatory grandma dies in Rocky Road. None of us talked about that. She did lose her grandmother, closest person to her in the world, like possibly only remaining family left. So I did feel very bad for Josee to learn that her grandmother passed away.
Yeah.
This quote, when I was reading the manga, similarly to Ashley, when you were like able to read the story in the manga, how you said at your own pace, it could really hit harder. Reading this quote in the manga made me tear up. And again, when I was watching the film, seeing it like brought to life, but more so, it hit harder for me in the manga. When she's talking about giving up her dreams, it was out of my reach. It was always out of my reach. The red balloon caught on the roof, that cicada husk on the tree, walking under a polka dot umbrella on a rainy day, running up the steps of a shrine, all of it. I'm not reaching for anything any longer. That hurt me in so many ways. I really, really felt so deeply for her. Like her dreams were crushed by that like social worker. Yeah. She's just decided to give up. She doesn't have any fight left. And he sees that that's not what she really wants by her expression. And he's like telling her not to give up on her dreams. Like that scene hit really, really hard for me.
I agree. It did also like resonate a lot more in the manga because of those very pointed, like, I don't know, emotive like things that she was describing. I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. The next thing I have is after Tsuneo's accident and he's in the hospital, we can just see that guilt consumes Josee. She's crying and she's harping on it day in and day out. And this is alongside her grief for her grandmother. Like that is almost an insurmountable amount of pain to deal with all at once. I really don't know how she did it. And meanwhile, Tsuneo's like wondering what his life trajectory is now based on if there are going to be long-term changes to his body. He's like, if I can't dive anymore, going abroad would be meaningless. And he throws away his like Spanish workbook as well. So it's like he's giving up on his dreams too, which is like something you never thought he would do based on how he is and how he's acted the whole film. So that was also heartbreaking. But on the flip side of that, he does eventually resolve to go to Mexico no matter what after he's discharged. And it was really, really great to see that fire lit under him again.
Yeah.
And my very last Rocky Road was actually everybody banding together to find Josee. There was just something about everybody coming together for that common cause that like, I felt myself like tearing up a little bit.
You were like, humanity isn't hopeless.
Right.
I was glad everybody did it too. Although at the back of my head, until we saw her, I was just like, oh my gosh, she did. Like,
oh my God, that would have been way too much for me. I would have been, this would have been like not the film experience that it was. Yeah, I would have been actually so angry.
Yeah.
But with that, let's head into Nuts, which is our segment where it's like, whoa, that was crazy. Oh my God. So hence Nuts. Does everybody have nuts?
I do.
I have two.
Okay, yeah, I just have a couple. I'll start with Chika this time. What are your nuts?
So my first one is, who pushed Josee in the first place for her to be flying down the street like that?
Right? I was like, we all agree it's like over the top. Like again, the tone, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was just like, who pushed her? Like, because y'all are talking about the world is full of scary beasts. Where's the cops? Because low-key, if she hit a car, that's premeditated murder. Or, well, not premeditated. It's still almost second degree murder or attempted murder. Like,
yeah.
I was also gonna say, or at least my other nuts is one, Tsuneo is heavily injured, has screws in his leg, is walking around trying to find Josee, and he's following her wheelchair trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's nuts. Like, because what do you mean that you're following her wheelchair trail? How do you know it's her?
There's only one wheelchair.
Right. Oh my God. That is so true. How do you know it's her?
Because they're soulmates.
Yes.
That they're soulmates. He knows that is the width of her wheel specifically.
Yes, he knows that is how much tread she had left on the
Oh my God.
Because people can get their personal like carts to wheel their groceries. I'm waiting for him to go find somebody like that. I'm like, maybe she just disappeared. He does find her.
No,
But,
then
yeah.
he gets hit with her again.
Again, that was
Banana's way that he initially got hit with her while he's already injured, and it's fine.
right. Which that was actually my last nuts point, is that he catches her again. And I'm like, you're catching her? Wasn't your arm screwed up too?
Yeah, I was thinking about his fracture. Yeah, when he caught her, I was like, is his fracture okay? Oh my God.
It's like, it was broke again. Like, I don't know.
Oh God. He's got to go back to the hospital.
Still love you, girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is all my first one as well. I was like, that initial run-in was really over the top, and then we reprise it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. This one maybe is a combination nuts and banana split.
Okay.
So early in the movie, Josee is still like cranky pants, and she runs out of the house, or she wheels herself out of the house very fast. And Tsuneo and the grandma are like, "Where did she go? Oh my gosh!" And so Tsuneo finds her at a train crossing, and the arms have gone down. And, Tsuneo, or maybe it's like, that's not exactly the scene. I don't fully remember the scene. But basically, Tsuneo is like, "Hey, where are you going?" And she's like, cranky, rah, 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 anywhere. I'm going to the ocean, blah, 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 right? I'm getting out of this house. And so she tries to go under the train crossing, caution arm. And so then Tsuneo just pulls her back, and he's just like, "Are you going somewhere on your own?" and all this stuff. And he doesn't say anything super angry. He's forceful, but not like angry. He's not like, "Hey, are you trying to commit suicide or something?"
Yeah.
I just felt like his reaction to like her almost getting hit by a train was not proportional. And I was like, what? She almost legit just got slaughtered by a train. Anyway,
Yeah.
the banana split part of it comes from when I was discussing it with Asher again. He was like, it was unclear to him if she actually didn't do it on like she didn't know that a train was going to come because she showed so sheltered.
Right.
Oh, yeah, there is a chance that she
didn't know that. Yeah.
I'm like, that's wild. I didn't interpret it like that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like, at least in this universe, because I was just like, Like, I think when I saw that happening, it's like, no wonder I was just like, oh, you can't find her at that house? She might be gone.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were my two.
Okay, I have a couple. So my first nuts point is also kind of like low-key I scream, you scream as well. Because at the very beginning of the film, when Tsuneo is walking in the same direction as the grandma and Josee, the grandma just offers up the information that Josee was born like this, quote unquote. I'm like, he didn't ask. Why just randomly give him this information? Nobody needed to know. Like
TMI.
Yeah, that she just offered that up off the bat. My next nuts point was another Hayato quote from work. He says to the boss that Tsuneo doesn't have enough savings for studying abroad. He's like, you should raise his hourly wage. Oh, and mine too while you're at it. I'm like, that is nuts to say to your boss.
Yeah.
I just interpreted it as they're actually like friends with their boss, I guess.
Yeah, it seems pretty low-key. I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
Okay, my last nuts point is when Tsuneo and Josee come back from their initial trip to the ocean, and the grandma's like, I told you to come back right away. And she like pinches Tsuneo somewhere, and we don't see like where on his body she's pinching. And she says, if you do this again, I'll cut it off.
I was
And
like, did she?
That was
legit
hot fudge
grab?
for me. Because she grabbed what we thought she grabbed.
okay, if she did, it's absolutely hot fudge.
I think she did.
I think she did.
Okay. let us seamlessly move into hot fudge. That's fucked up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fucked up and nuts.
Yeah, no, I had
She
that.
grabbed his nuts.
Quite literally.
I literally wrote it out. I was like, oh, we're getting clinical here. I'm like, Grandma grabbed Tsuneo's genitals for taking Josee to the sea. That's literally assault. That's a harassment.
Yeah.
That is insane. And they just brushed past it in the anime and the manga. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
Completely throwaway joke.
yeah.
Yeah, it didn't need to be that. It was like, no, what is this?
Yeah.
But Chika, what are more of your hot fudge?
So Josee tells Tsuneo at the train stop thing to take her to the sea, and if she doesn't, then she'll tell people that he touched her chest so she can get fired.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm just like, implying that somebody touched you to get your way is disgusting. And she could literally ruin his life.
Yeah.
With accusations like that. Now, I know that she wasn't going to actually go through with it, right?
Yeah.
Like, and she did that also before as well. Not before, but like when he first catches her and then she calls him a pervert, and it's like, he catched you so you wouldn't smash onto the street and like bleed, you know?
Yeah.
I don't really like stuff like that. I think when it comes to situations like that, you should only go to people when stuff like that actually happens, because it takes away from victims.
Yeah.
The other thing that I have is the social worker, Mr. Fujita, telling Josee that she needs to get a real job and that her grandma's not there to spoil her anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody who listened to our Only Yesterday episode certainly got an earful from me about stuff like this. Art is real jobs. Like, if you're experiencing something and you like it, somebody worked hard to make it. Art deserves a livable wage.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating to me when people call art in any form not real work. I actually, I teared up in frustration from that scene. Like, it really, really gets me to my core when people start saying stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't like that he said that. And it's like him implying that the grandma spoiled her. And it's like, the grandma didn't spoil her. She more so like stifled
She kind of
her.
stifled her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From being able to see the world as it is and stuff. And so if there had been an actual discussion about, oh, this is what I want to do as work, like that scenario never happened. So she wasn't spoiled. She was stifled and sheltered and not able to be in the world as she wanted to. And so on top of that, someone else said that her art was so good that she should do it. So why wouldn't she just go off of somebody well-meaning saying something like that?
Right. Yeah. It wasn't until Josee was able to have outside experiences that she was able to discover what she's actually passionate about. Like, being stifled wasn't helping her grow at all.
Yeah. And then I don't like Tsuneo's parents. I don't like Tsuneo's parents in any iteration of this story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, I lied. I think I might vaguely like the mom in the live action, but she might be the only
Okay.
person that I like in the live action, and it's very vague. But anime and manga, I didn't like the mom because what do you mean your son got hit by a car and you're asking whether you should go to the hospital? You should just be at the hospital.
Yeah. Like, my parents drove right out to where my car accident was, told me to go to the hospital, came to the hospital several times. Like, that's what you do.
That's what you do. So I don't know why it was like a question. And then on top of it, just seeing that he was in contact with his mom, you can't help your son with anything. Like,
right.
You don't have to pay his rent, but you can't send him money for food from time to time. Like, I don't know. I didn't really like the mom.
Me neither.
And the rest of it is all about Mai. It's all about Mai.
Yep.
Yep. Me too. It looks like I pasted something into Hot Fudge that I was supposed to paste into Rocky Road, but I'm not going to put a jarring thing in here. I'll say it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Mai asking Josee to set Tsuneo free really angered me, because it's like, what what are you on to tell somebody that, like...
And, like, Josee's grandmother just died. She's going through so much right now.
Yeah.
And Mai's making it about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just to tell her that Tsuneo is only staying with her out of sympathy was really disgusting as well.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything to deserve that or to even be hearing something like that. And then the next time you see Mai is, well, okay, so post the accident, and she is wheeling Tsuneo around outside, and she just confesses. I was so mad.
Me too. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I was so mad. How selfish.
He's talking about his feelings, and I'm not saying that feelings are valid, right? But he's talking about his frustrations of his current situation. And I hate that in that moment, Mai tried to make Tsuneo responsible for her feelings for him, which had nothing to do with what he was previously even talking about.
Yeah.
Not even in the same sphere. And it's just, here's my feelings, I love you, or whatever. And before he could even say anything, then she's like, I already know what you're going to say. And so it's like, if you knew what he was going, why did you even do it the way that you're doing it?
Right.
I don't know why she's literally the worst. Like,
Yeah.
aggressively the worst.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Everything that comes out of her mouth is basically like, just don't put it back. Put it
Yeah.
back."
And like,
Yeah.
that wasn't even the end of it. She
No.
goes to Josee's house and is banging at the door.
Yeah.
And like yelling at Josee through the door about her feelings for Tsuneo, even though he technically rejected her without doing it because she mentally did it herself. And I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like,
yeah.
She's just being an overall, like, obsessive creep.
Like, okay, he doesn't want you, whatever. Why are you going to Josee's house and being like, these are all of the things that I know about him? What do you want her to do about that? Why are you badgering somebody that's literally grieving multiple things? It's not even just her grandma. It's the fact that Tsuneo got into this accident in the first place and she's partially the cause.
Yeah.
And then here you are just talking about your feelings and saying this and saying that and trying to make her come to the... For what? Like, it was honestly just so terrible. After that happened, I was very much so done with her.
I was very done with her as well. I did not actually want to see her again for the
Yeah,
rest
I was
of
like,
the
I
film.
don't really, you didn't need to redeem, like, we didn't need to redeem her.
There was no redemption for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally, I'm just going to straight read my notes about
Yeah.
this. Mai, I believed you were better than this. How dare you ask her to ask her to release him from her? Mai, how are you so bad?
Yeah.
Tells him she
Yes.
loves him, but she made this sequence of events happen. Then you go tell Josee to do something. Ugh, literally, how are you the worst? I'm so mad. You have Rika's VA from SSS Gridman. I love Rika from SSSS Gridman. And the whole time I was like, you definitely have her voice. You do. I confirmed it. Oh my God, I hate you. You're the worst character. This is a disgrace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, a big part of it for me was the fact that Mai manipulated Hayato into tracking down Josee under the guise of cheering her up.
Oh, yes! I forgot about I was like, oh my God. I think I was distracted because I was like, I'm glad that Hayato turned out to be like such a good boy in the end that I like
Right.
let Mai get away with that. But you're
Yeah,
right.
I'm glad he at least tried to be like, don't listen to her. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
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 He's like, I have to go find her because like she's my friend, but like, oh my God, she was so mean to you. Don't listen to her. Bye. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Does that do it for Hot Fudge for us? Because that covered everything I had.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into I Scream, You Scream. General dislike, stuff that's a little less intense than Hot Fudge, or maybe we have like deeper critiques on the film in general. I'll start with Ashley this time. What are your I Scream, You Screams if you have any?
I mean, yeah, just generally I'm like, all these people who apparently just bump into Josee or are mean to Josee, like, meh,
Yeah.
why? Like,
Yeah. My first one is somebody pushed Josee down a hill at the beginning of the film. Like, what? That's so messed up. Like,
so messed up. I hate that. I hate it.
Mhm.
I generally do dislike the grandma. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, why are you like this? Why are you like this?
Yeah, I had her in Ice Cream You Scream as well, but I don't want to like harp on it too much because we pretty much said all the things. But yeah, I'm right with you there.
Yeah. And then I know y'all were like, oh, we loved the teacher earlier because he's like supporting,
the professor.
Tsuneo. Yeah.
I thought that it was nice that he sent his paper over, but that's kind of it for me.
But then he like comes to the hospital and is like,
yes.
Oh, so now that you're hurt, like, they're just going to need somebody else. Like, is that cool? I'm like, it's not the time, bro.
Yeah. That's what I have as well. I'm like, could there not be an exception under these extremely like outlying circumstances? Like, geez.
It's not the time, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I had.
All right. Chika, do you have any Ice Cream You Scream?
Josee calling Tsuneo pervert when he saved her. That irritated me.
Mm-hmm.
I also dislike the misrepresentation of biting people. I think you can also bite people because of cuteness aggression. So, Josee, why did you? I don't know why you did that, but that ticked me off personally because I don't do it all the time. I don't bite people all the time. I literally only bite my.
I don't bite people all the time. Okay, this is a different podcast now, but go on.
No.
What a sound bite.
I'll like take my dad's arm sometimes and I'll just be like, fake bite, but not like, oh, bite and chew, just like fake bite or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a cuteness aggression type of thing. So I just didn't like it because it's like, you did it in bad taste. And now people are going to look at me. Well, people are already going to look at me weird, but still. I just don't go around biting people, okay? Like, it's very close to me, like, type of thing. But outside of that, I guess you could just say that that's it, because the other ones I already mentioned before.
Okay. All right. So my couple of Ice Cream You Screams that we haven't gone through is that I felt for Tsuneo's frustration with Josee's insane initial tasks as her caretaker. I'm just like, oh, I feel you, bro. Like, I'm also frustrated for you. And we really went through all my Ice Cream You Scream. So my last one was at the end of the film when Hayato brought Mai to Tsuneo's physical therapy appointment. I'm just like, why bring her into the fold? She doesn't deserve to be here.
I know.
Yeah.
It's because he's a good boy. He's trying.
Yeah, he is a sweet boy, but I was annoyed.
I know.
Well, that does it for the big Shoujo Sundae segment session of this. So I think we're getting into other compare and contrast stuff, which I think is more so for you guys, because the manga and the movie are 1-to-1 pretty much.
Like, we don't really need to do manga and a movie, but all right, Chika, do you want me to go first of like my...
Yeah, you go first because then... Wait, no, should I go first because then I'll horrify people and then you can kind of like make it better?
Okay, I can see what lines up, sure. All right, yeah. Tell me about the first adaptation that I'm aware of this live action movie.
Okay, so the live action movie is entirely different. Tsuneo has nothing to do with marine biology at all. Like,
what?
At all.
This is true in the short story as well.
He works in a mahjong parlor.
Okay, that's weird, but
like a casino type parlor thing. And then his boss there like has a dog that he takes care of and stuff. And so he was working really late at night and then just told him, oh, you can go and take my dog for like a walk or whatever. So he's going to take the dog for a walk. And then he sees this old lady pushing a baby carriage with blankets on it. So at first when you see it, it looks as if, oh, the old lady is homeless, right? But she loses like the hold on the baby carriage and it goes and it hits like a street barrier thing. And she has a very bad back. She's like, oh, can you go look or whatever. Go like check on like the baby. He goes to the baby carriage. It's not a baby. It's Josee. Josee is in this baby carriage. She does not get a wheelchair. Yes. She's in this baby carriage covered with blankets. And it's like the way that it is, it's not how baby carriages are like now. Like you have to think old time baby carriage where it's like deeper set and stuff. And so she's just in it. She doesn't get a wheelchair until the end of the movie. It's just this baby carriage. Like it's very like destitute. It's like, oh, like you're poor for real. Like, okay. They go back to the house. So them eating together, that is consistent. But Josee is actually the one that cooks. The grandma doesn't really cook for real. And the reason why they say that there's all these scary beasts and stuff is because they live near a pervert, like basically a pedo. They live near one. And like, because of the fact that Josee doesn't have control of like her, like he tries to take advantage of her. And then some other old man that's near, that goes to that casino thing that Tsuneo works at, also tries to take advantage of her. So she'll carry a knife when the grandma takes her out for walks in this baby carriage. So the next time Tsuneo sees her, then she has a cut on her like face because somebody tried to attack. So that's why the grandma saying, oh, the world is full of scary beasts. It makes more sense in the live action because people keep trying to take advantage of Josee. And then in the midst of that, Hayato doesn't exist, unfortunately. And they kind of merge Mai and Kana together.
Huh.
Ew.
Oh.
I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Not
So
equal.
it's just, they merged Mai and Kana together. There's no library. Kana in this iteration just wants to become a social worker. And so at first they're friends, and Tsuneo's explaining Josee's situation because he's concerned about how bad off they are.
Uh-huh.
And then Kana's like, oh yeah, you know, maybe I'll like go by and like check things out. And then he randomly has a friends with benefits person. So there's a whole like sex scene, which it's just like, what? That's why I said it's rated R.
What?
Yeah. You see boobs, like, yeah.
Oh my, whoa.
A lot happens. I was just like, I don't really like how Tsuneo is in the live action. Like, he's helpful, but he's still kind of like a man in a not shit way. Like, yeah. And so at first he has a friends with benefits person. The friends and benefits person tells him to go out with Kana. Then he tries to go out with Kana, but Kana says no. And I was just like, thank God. Okay, right? Like,
Okay.
or not like go out, but he tries to initiate sex. And then she's like, no, and leaves. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh my God.
And then he's like helping Josee and stuff and kind of getting caught up with that. And that's when you see the more helpful side where he calls social services. They go in, they like try to make the house more accessible, right? But the grandma is also worse in this. Well, first off, Josee is adopted. So she didn't have
Oh.
parents. She came from an orphanage, and her friend escaped the orphanage because it was really bad.
Okay.
And I guess the grandma took them in, but she's kind of crazy, and she keeps calling Josee damaged goods, and that nothing good will ever like come from her being around people, and doesn't want her to even go outside at all. So she's just terrible, like when she's like in her senses or in her right mind, I guess. And so when the social services are there, like she's essentially hiding in this like covered closet space because the grandma doesn't want her to be out. Like she doesn't want people to see her. And so Tsuneo's talking to her, and then Kana comes to just be like, oh, I'm observing. And then Tsuneo and Kana start dating, but he's mentally thinking about Josee all the time. Then he goes over with takoyaki. So that was the, like, remnant of the anime and the manga because it's how it started or whatever. So he has takoyaki, but then Josee is upset because she thinks that he's dating Kana and that they're pitying her. Even
my
though
God.
when you see her talking, Josee is actually the more knowledgeable one, despite the fact that she's not in college. But still, and so she's like saying no, and she's throwing her books at like the door, like the window that he's talking to her through. And when he goes to the door, the grandma tells him like never to come back. And then Josee's sort of crying on the floor, and the grandma's comforting her. And then another scene happens. Tsuneo's visiting the social services guy that he spoke to previously at Josee's house. That's when he finds out that the grandma had died.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma's dead, so then he goes to visit Josee. Then he finds out that Josee is being actively molested by the pedo that is in the neighborhood.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because she needs him to take out her trash. And she can't do it herself. And then the welfare people that come, they don't come in time to take out her trash for her to ask the welfare people to do it. So he literally touches her as like a reward for taking out her trash.
Oh my god.
And so then she gets really emotional, and then Tsuneo just says that he's going to stay with her. Like at first he kicks him out, and then he's acting like he's going to leave, and then she starts crying, and then he says he's going to stay with her, and then effectively just sort of moves in. And then he cheats on Kana with Josee.
Oh no.
Which I was just like, that's a sex scene I also didn't feel like seeing. I was just like, this is a lot. This is a lot.
Okay.
A lot.
Oh.
And so then they're together, and then her orphanage friend is like, oh, are y'all gonna get married? Because it looked as if Tsuneo was going to take her to his parents' place for like some memorial thing. And Tsuneo also has a brother, by the way, which is very random, a younger brother. And the younger brother's like, I'll be rooting for you guys and stuff. But then it doesn't end up happening. Like they go to the ocean, they go to a love hotel that has an ocean theme.
Oh.
And that's where you get to see the fish, and you see the bed is a clam bed, and like
That's insane.
then he ends up, and so they're together for at least like a year or two, but then they end up breaking up. So they break up, and then Tsuneo gets back with Kana.
Oh my god.
And like they're just walking down the street, and in his head he's thinking about how like sometimes you can be friends with your exes, but sometimes you can't. And then all of a sudden, and he's like, and you can't with Josee, like it doesn't work out that way. He breaks down in the middle of the street, and Kana's just looking at him like crying on the street. And I'm just like, well, why did you break up then? Because I mean,
Right.
he essentially ran away from her and the responsibility, I guess, of caring for her, but then he still was emotionally tied to her. Anyway, so he's crying, and then you just get to see Josee finally has a motorized wheelchair, an actual wheelchair. And she's going down the street, and she has her groceries, and she goes back to her house, and she's cooking, and she falls on the ground from like the little step thing and picks up her food from there. And like that's how it ends.
Oh my god. What in the Hanayori Dango is this? Like
No, it's worse. It's worse. It's worse.
No, it's worse. It's absolutely worse.
Because
But,
I
like,
just kept seeing there was just boobs everywhere. I'm like, oh my god, okay, like
that's
the younger brother has his own like girlfriend, and she opens the window and just no shirt, no bra, just like, oh, like when are you coming back inside? And I'm just like, girl, why? Like there are people on the street that are looking at you.
I cannot believe that was drawn from whatever same source material as like the beautiful animated film I just watched.
Right.
Well, all right. So yeah, so I'm gonna try to do the highlights of the short story because
Oh boy.
I see
Right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry I told the long version.
it's not as hardcore as what she could describe for sure, but like definitely more hardcore than the animated movie.
Yeah.
and hopefully less softcore as well.
Oh, I feel like this was hard. Like, no, the movie was hardcore. Like, there was scenes. Like, yeah.
Like Bridgerton? Like Bridgerton bad? Like,
Well,
I mean, that's like really
at least,
aggressive.
okay. Yeah.
like, I think it's rated R. Like,
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it sounds
I
like it's
don't-
rated R.
yeah. Yeah.
Whew.
I'm sorry, guys. I was telling you, I was supposed to be comparing, and then it just became me trauma dumping.
You
on
were
what
like,
I saw.
I mean, there was really no stopping point. You had to keep going.
yeah, we were just like, what?
yeah, like, oh
And
my
then
god.
what? No.
Yeah.
Okay, so the short story, I don't know how to say it other than it's very Japanese. Like the time is very flowy. You're like, I'm in the present. Now we have a little stint in the past. Now I'm in the present again. Like, what's going on? Okay, so there's like that overall. But so in the beginning, so as Chika said, Tsuneo has no real, like, isn't a diver, doesn't care about fish that deeply. Like, it's not deep. So I don't think there are any of the side character friend people. There is, I can see where they got this lecherous old man. There is supposed to be a lecherous neighbor. I don't think he actually does anything. He's just like, hey, if you ever do need anything, like, I'm down, right? But I don't think that she ever like gives in to any of that. I don't think anything untoward actually happened or was described to have happened within the short story. So the opening of the story basically is like Josee and Tsuneo are married and going on a honeymoon.
Huh? Oh
yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, huh? I did read it at like midnight. So caveat is that I think they aren't actually, they're like, we're not like legally married, but we basically call each other husband and wife. And we're like going on a honeymoon for funsies. So on the honeymoon, they go to like an aquarium and there's this whole kerfuffle about like, he told the hotel that she has a wheelchair and that he wanted a room on the first floor, but they're like, oh, we can't accommodate that, but it's okay because there's an elevator, but then her wheelchair doesn't fit in the elevator. So like the bellhop has to help them like carry the wheelchair up, and he like carries her into the room and everything. You know, Tsuneo's carrying her, bellhop is carrying the wheelchair, like all this stuff. So you're like, okay, so they still go to an aquarium. That's part of going on the honeymoon. The two things that I kind of did like about the short story that were changed or like more expounded. No, one of them was explicitly changed. One is more expounded upon and changed. So like the grandma, again, yeah, we get this sense. At first it was like one of the explanations was, you know, yeah, she's just like cranky and scared of going outside or like doesn't feel like going outside on her own. But then later we do find out that they're like pretty poor. So she's like scared of Josee running into like bill collectors and stuff as a reason for why she doesn't take Josee outside. And you're like, okay.
Oh, wow.
So in the movie and manga, I believe they explicitly said that Josee's parents had died. In the short story, her mom had died. Her dad was still alive. He remarried. The stepmom is the one who was like, no, we should put her in a home. So she was in like an assisted living facility until the grandma like legally adopted her, took her into her care. So I guess technically you're like, is that an improvement? I guess so. I don't know. So there is also like, yeah, Tsuneo and Josee do have sex. Like that entire exchange of about the kiss where they're like, she's like, oh, that wasn't how I expected it to feel or be or whatever. And he was like, in a bad way. And she's like, no, in a good way. And then reinitiates it. That's about them having sex in the short story.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay, I don't hate that. I'm like, sure, show, you know, disabled people or like otherly able-bodied people having sex, like that's normal. Normalize it, like fine. So yeah, the short story really just, I think, did some things better where I was like, okay, I got better backstory for the grandma and like the parents, and like I appreciate it, but it didn't make them like characters in a way that you felt like emotional about them. So like that's a detraction over the movie and the manga. And then, yeah, I was like, you know, the exchange about the kiss does make more sense to me when it was about sex. Because I was like, yeah, no, first kisses are weird. And you like clank teeth and you're like, ew, it's wet. And like, blah, blah, blah. And like, whatever, it's not good. And then I was like, but it's also just like a second. Like, it doesn't last that long. So why would it be like, it's not a big deal. You just do it again. But I was like, oh yeah, sex being like a thing that you're like, that didn't go how I expected. I was like, yeah, that's an experience, you know? That makes sense to me. Yeah, so those were like the big differences that I noticed from the short story.
Wow, oh my God.
So yeah, so this story has certainly taken a journey, is what I learned today.
Yes.
Yeah, getting hot and heavy in the other materials.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if anything, just be like Giana, guys.
Yeah.
Just read the manga, watch the anime movie,
And that's
and
it.
you'll have a warm, fuzzy feeling for the rest of the day. And
that's correct.
you don't have to know the other stuff exists.
That's correct.
Yes. Please don't, like, I mean, y'all just don't watch the live. I can't say it more.
Don't do it.
just don't do it.
Just watch the animated film twice, okay?
Please. Like,
Yeah.
the horror. Like,
Chika's never going to be able to scrub that from her eyeballs.
no, because like I don't know why. Like, I didn't look up the rating of the movie. I just thought, oh, it's gonna be chill. And then there's like a sex scene, and I'm like, what the hell? And like, whoa. And then, yeah, just don't watch it. Or, I mean, read the plot. Actually, maybe that's what's better. If I had read the plot, maybe I wouldn't have watched it. I would have been like, doesn't sound like it's good for me.
Right.
I just jumped into it.
I appreciate you for your sacrifice.
Yes. I sacrificed myself for the good of the common people that listen to us.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess the one other thing is that the short story does try to give you an explanation of like, you know, we complain that the grandma in the movie and the manga just kind of offers up like, she was born like this, but it's like, nobody asked, you know? At
Yeah.
the beginning of the short story, you're kind of like in Josee's perspective, but from like third person.
Mm.
But it does be like, oh, she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, but it probably wasn't cerebral palsy. Like they had a little, medical debate about it, but then they couldn't come up with a better explanation for it. So they were just like, shrug, cerebral palsy.
Right.
And then like it does describe more how like because her legs are underdeveloped or whatever other thing that's not really cerebral palsy that she has, like makes her look more childlike and stuff. So it just goes more into like the medical background too a little bit, and you're like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, like the grandma is like literally the devil in the live action. So it's like, oh, even though we didn't like her in the anime or manga, she is much, much better.
Yeah. No, she's not the worst.
Yeah. By comparison, it really doesn't sound like she's too bad. Just a little bad.
Yeah, no, like the live action, she's the most ableist, mean. Oh God, just yeah. Anyway,
we did it.
We did it.
We did. Was there anything else we wanted to go over?
No, I think we did it.
All right. Yeah, I think with the timestamp I'm looking at, I really think we said about everything there is to say about all the iterations of Josee the Tiger and the Fish.
Yeah.
So thank you so very much to our listeners who hung out with us all evening. And thank you the most to Ashley for doing this wonderful special collab with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, this was so much fun.
It's fun.
I've wanted to do this for so long, of having that idea of, okay, let's read the manga, let's watch the property, and then we'll just go on each other's podcast and talk about it. And like, the thing is, it's hard to find a sweet spot, right? Because sometimes, like, okay, you want to pick a manga where it doesn't have as many volumes. So that's like, okay, we could do that, go on Ashley's podcast. But then it's also like, how many episodes? Oh God, how many? Like,
I know.
Sometimes they could be like 50, they could be like this. And then it's like, okay, which ones have like, more of the shorter type of like, okay, it's 12 episodes. And then it's like, we have Ashley for 12 episodes and it's going to be like this or whatever.
I know. We're going to have to find like a sweet OAV or something to do.
we have to find one, because I feel like I want us to do this again, like to have the Shoujo trio revived again for something else. But I'm glad that we're able to do this.
Yeah. I'm gonna write it down as a thing that I should do. Look for other candidates.
Oh, that'd be so great. Well, before we get into our outro spiel, we just want to give a big shout out to all of our magical, wonderful patrons, starting with our Sprinkles tier. Thank you to Miles, Akemi, Honey, PJ, and Pete. Moving on up to our Whipped Cream tier, thank you so much to Maha and Mark M. And last but most certainly not least, thank you so much to our Hot Fudge patrons, AJ, Mary, Faruba Trashcan, and Oberitix. Thank you so much for being our patrons.
Yes, thank you.
All right, and if you would like to keep up with us during the week, let's start with Ashley. Where can everyone out there on the interwebs find you and Shoujo and Tell if they're not already on your platform listening to this right now?
Right?
Yeah, so, at Shoujo and Tell is on most of the social medias. It doesn't have a TikTok because
Yes.
no,
Yes, neither
thank
do
you.
I. My TikTok has been deleted.
I mean, by the time this episode comes out, will TikTok even
Will
still
TikTok
be?
exist?
Yeah.
Right? Who knows?
That's a good point. So yeah, so I'm trying to go all in on like Blue Sky. So after Shoujo and Tell on Blue Sky, I guess Instagram is probably my second biggest one. I try to keep up my Tumblr and regrettably the X account, but mostly for like legacy purposes. But like,
Mhm.
no, Blue Sky. Find me on Blue Sky. I am also trying to start a little DJ journey. So I believe I'm DJ/Lee Ashley on Blue Sky.
Yes.
It links both ways. If you find Shoujo and Tell, it links to me. It goes both ways.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. If you'd like to keep up with Shoujo Sundae during the week, you can follow us at Shoujo Sundae across socials, including Threads, and on Blue Sky, we are shoujosundae.com. If you would like to keep up with us individually, I am Giana Luna. You can find me on Instagram and Twitch at Giana_Luna_ and Blue Sky at gianaluna.bsky.social. And you can stream my song Twilight Champagne on any music platform. That's also Giana with one N. Chika, where can people find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me in the Shoujo Sundae Discord. It's open to everyone. You can also find me on Blue Sky at chika.shoujosundae.com and also on Instagram at Chika Supreme, and that's Chika with a K and not two C's.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you again for hanging out with us, and we will see y'all on our respective platforms next time. See you then.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.